friends. It's Michelle coming to you from Quimby Cottage Knits in Michigan. And you can find me as MK Hansen on Ravelry and Quimby Cottage Knits on Instagram. And I just wanted to say that I noticed a lot of podcasters are putting out a lot of content sort of to help people through the quarantine at home. And I think that's great. I don't really think I have a lot to add to that. I definitely don't have a lot of marvelous content, but I did want to check in with you, see how you're all doing, and show you some of the things that I've been doing to fill my days at home. So first, I think the last time we talked was a while ago, and I was going to be starting, actually, first I should tell you what I'm wearing. I'm wearing the Hayward sweater by Julie Huber. I knit this in Brooklyn Tweed Loft, which is a fingering weight version. I'm going to talk some more about it later, but I just want to tell you what I'm wearing right now. So last time we talked, I think I was just starting, maybe hadn't started yet. We did a little bit of math together, I think, on my Tecumseh sweater, which I have finished. It's unblocked, but I have finished it. You'll see that I definitely did the armholes shorter than the pattern called for. I separated for the sleeves right after this first round, and I think the pattern calls for you to split after this, but I didn't really want that swancho look, so I made that adjustment. It's not blocked, but I'm going to block it maybe today or tomorrow, and I'm pretty excited about the way that it looks. So it was a really fun knit. To be honest, I love the way it looks. I'm looking forward to trying it on. I did try it on when I was making it, and I wasn't for sure that all of this color work is actually going to be flattering on me. So I took a picture when it was midway done. I'll see if I still have it. I sometimes delete unflattering photos, but if I do, I'll put it here for you and you guys can see what you think. I loved knitting it, but that's, again, something I want to talk about in a little bit. So I'm going to keep going with what we've been working on, and then I will talk about sweaters at the end. That's all I finished, although I did finish the sock for my daughter, Sarita. She keeps wearing holes in one of hers, so she needs a replacement pair. I have probably, I don't know, maybe 24 socks for myself, which I think is reasonable. It gives you enough to wear them, and then also plenty so that you can let them pile up a little bit. I always hand wash my socks, but my children don't want that many socks, which I think is weird. So they each have maybe 9 or 10 pairs. So I don't understand that, but whatever. Anyway, I started the second one and I just knit the heel flap. So today I will turn the heel and pick up the gusset. This is currently the only thing on my needles, so I'm hoping to motor through it pretty quickly. Here's what I learned about this. I had this and the Tecumseh on my needles at the same time. Normally, my purse knitting, which is what this is very easy. And this is very easy. But every other row, I slipped the 8th stitch so that I could get this. This is, I cast on 64. And then I slipped one, knit 7, slipped 1, knit 7, and then the next row I knit all the way around. So I had to keep track of those every other rows of slipping, and then I also had to count to 7, and I didn't realize that was so hard. So I discovered that if this is the only thing I have going, it's easy enough that it's fine, but when I have something else a little bit harder to do, I really just want a simple sock that I can just motor around on. This was just a little bit too much brain power for me. I know, but that's what I learned about myself. So isn't that what we're here for? It's just to do a little bit of learning. This yarn is Saki Bamboo by Wisdom Yarns. It's a 50% merino, 25% nylon, and 25% bamboo. It feels really nice and kind of silky a little bit. I think that that's the bamboo in it. I thought it would be fun to try, and I do really like knitting with the yarn, so I recommend it as far as that goes. I can't speak to how it wears, but I do like the way it feels. I like the way it knits up. It's not splitty at all. So if I see this somewhere, I will pick up more. I do like it. So there's that. In other adventures, I decided to paint my dresser. I'll insert a photo here of what it looked like before. I painted it probably 20-ish years ago, and I didn't know a lot about painting. I don't know a lot now, but I somehow messed up between the oil base and the acrylic base, oil base and water base, and which one you can use and what order they go in and that kind of thing. And so in the end, it chipped up a little bit. And remember, we have moved, I think, 12 times. No, maybe only 11 times since I painted that. So it's a bit chipped up, and I decided I wanted to do something a little different. So I bought myself some of that Sloan chalk paint, and let me just tell you, I want to start the Church of the Chalk Paint because I am a believer. I loved it. I thinned it a little bit with water. I painted it. I let it sit for, I don't know how long, not very long, and then I did a second coat. I let it sit overnight, and then I waxed it. You have to buff the wax off, and I was doing this in my garage. Remember, I live in Michigan. We did have some nice days last week, but it was, or I guess it was this week. We did have some nice days this week, but not quite warm enough really for that wax to go in, soak in. So I brought it back inside and then I buffed it. But I love the way it looks. So I'm going to insert a picture here. And I can't say enough things, and I really want to paint everything that's not nailed down. So we'll see how we do. I only have 1 can of navy chalk paint, so I'm not sure how long that will last us. But I'm loving it. I highly recommend it, and I've already decided this summer that when I get to the cottage, I'm going to try to paint fabric with the chalk paint. I've watched Sloan do it on a YouTube video, and I've gained confidence from that. So we'll see how that goes. Anyway, I'm kind of lazy. So beside my bed, I have a pile of hand knit socks that need to be washed. And I was vacuuming under the dresser because we were going to put it back where it goes, and I wanted to make sure it was all clean before I put it back. And when I did that, my vacuum sucked up one of my socks. And it didn't go into the vacuum, thankfully, because that would be a nightmare. I have central vac in this house, which means that sock could have been trapped anywhere in the walls between here and the basement, which would not have been good. But I turned it off, and I found the sock was rolled up on the roller, so I had to wrestle that out. Lucky for me, I did. First of all, these were my blue ribbon socks. These socks won a blue ribbon this past summer. So I was pretty excited about that. But I sort of think that I won that accidentally, because when I pulled it out, I noticed in 2 places I had dropped a stitch. So I've mended it. But can you believe? I can't even believe that I won a blue ribbon on socks like that. And all I can say that I had going for me is that they were a little tiny bit felted together, and that's why they didn't run. But I mean, it's terrible. It's embarrassing, actually, is what it is. So there's that. Another thing that I've been working on since quarantine, my friend Ingrid came to visit, and she always comes bearing gifts like Santa, because she's generous that way. And she brought me this super cute project bag that my old local yarn store, Hank in Cincinnati, that they have made now. And isn't this really cute? It's by this artist. His name is Scott Nash. And it's a great little project bag. There's a little pocket inside. It's really cute. But I wanted to make it mine. So I've done a little hand embroidery before, nothing fine or beautiful or detailed. I'm totally untrained, but I felt like an initial was the answer to that. So I wrote my initial, and if you look really closely, you can see that I still have like some pencil lines on there that I need to take care of. And then I drew a circle. I just traced a drinking glass, and I did this little chain stitch, and you can see it's a little wonky in some places, but I really liked how that turned out, and it was kind of heavy on this one side, so I decided to embroider the handle too. And so I like how that turned out. The thing that I actually think is interesting about this, I just wanted something easy, so nothing too difficult, but I sort of like how the inside looks, the way I did this on the outside. I kind of like how it ended up on the inside, just these sort of weird dashes. It almost looks like strange hieroglyphics or something to me. So, or maybe like little birdie footprints. I don't know. I just thought that that was kind of interesting too. So I just personalized this, which I thought was kind of a fun thing to do. My kids have one of those big Ziploc bags full of embroidery floss from the days when they did friendship bracelets. And every so often in the summertime, one of them will take those out. They can do some pretty fancy ones. My one daughter made one that said Wisconsin in it, which is even fancier than I knew how to do. But that bag was floating around the house. And when I came upon it, I knew exactly what to do with it. So that was kind of a fun little thing to do. This is not a sewing video. I don't know anything about sewing. I know very little about sewing. But my daughter Sarita has been home, and as I said, when Ingrid comes to visit, she brings presents like Santa. So she brought this fabric, which she got from China, and Sarita has turned it into this great skirt. So she made it. It's lined. As you can see, it's lined. And she put in her first zipper. So it's not perfect, but that's okay. But she here, and during quarantine, has made a wearable garment, and I think that's really great. And I just wanted to show you that when you're 22 and you have some time and energy, you can make something wearable. So I hope that she wears it. It is a little bit wonky in the back. The way that the zipper went in was a little fussy for her. I told her she could take it out and redo it, but I think she's at the moment not encouraged to do that. But I'm still really pleased with the way it turned out. I'm proud of her for trying something new, and I always love when people learn something new and do something with their hands. I'm just a crafter at heart. So I was pretty glad about that. I think my next project is going to be a shawl. I have been wanting to make the Amarilli shawl. It's a Brooklyn tweed pattern by Amy Vanderlen. She's the same one who did the honeycomb hat and mitts. I'm pretty sure it's that same woman. Anyway, a friend of mine knit that pattern, and I loved it as soon as I saw it. I knew I wanted it exactly the same that he did it. So I bought this veil, which is the Brooklyn tweed Rambouillet lace weight, knitting on a size 3. And I'm going to attempt the Amy Vanderland Brooklyn tweed Amarilli pattern. I'll let you know how it goes. It's a little fussy, but as the only other thing I have on my needles right now is that sock, I'm hoping that I can do that. And then I think I'm hoping to be able to get it done in time. I would like to enter that in the county fair this summer too, along with my Tecumseh sweater. And then I think I'm also going to enter my Advent socks by Natalie Sheldon and see if I can ribbon in any of that. I really liked doing that last year, and I sort of like having those goals for myself this year. So we'll see what I can accomplish. Last year I planned this out for a long period of time, and I was able to enter 8 things. This year, so far I only have 3. I didn't plan ahead very well for this. I sort of actually forgot about it for a while. And it wasn't until after I completed the Advent socks that I thought maybe I should start doing that again. So I don't know what I will have, but we'll see. I think I definitely want to enter something in it. I do like the opportunity to see what other people are knitting at the county fair. And I like having a few knitting goals, although in some ways I feel a little restricted by the categories and the way they have them written. And I don't always like when things are bossy to me. So we'll see how long I want to stick with this, but there's that. One thing I wanted to talk about are my favorite sweaters. I've been thinking a lot about my favorite sweaters and why they're my favorite and what I can do to improve on them. So let's start with this sweater. This is the Hayward sweater by Julie Hoover. It is a favorite because I really like the shape. It's very loose. So that's one thing I've learned about myself, is that now that I'm 46, I really prefer my sweaters that are a little bit looser and more forgiving. So I need to remember that. That is a fact about me. The other thing I liked about this is I thought about what I wanted to do a little bit before I did it. And I had been seeing in the Bowden catalogs, which is a mail order catalog that I get sometimes from England, they had a bunch of sweaters that had just a little bit of detailed colors, and I really liked that. So I did that on this sweater too. So while I did buy another ball of yarn so that I could do that little bit of color tipping, I liked that I took the time to do that. It felt a little bit current. I enjoy, sometimes I get really excited and I just cast on, but I enjoyed that I took some time to think through what it is exactly that I wanted to make. And this is the first time I have knit with Brooklyn Tweed Loft in this very airy fabric. They have you knitting this at a gauge of 20, and usually that's what you knit Shelter, which is their worsted version. But I like this. It's airy. I think because of that, this is a really seasonal sweater for me. I can wear this I actually can wear this definitely 3 seasons in Michigan. It's warm enough, and I always wear a layer underneath because it is like a swan show. So if I lifted my arms up, because the armholes are so low, the hem kind of raises a little bit, so I always wear a shirt underneath it. But it's also airy enough that on a very warm day, I can wear this in 60-degree temperatures, even sometimes 70-degree temperatures in the spring when it's a little bit cool, on the cool edge of 70. I really like this. I wear it a lot. And it's Brooklyn Tweed. It's just now starting to pill. This is, I think, 2 years old now, maybe even 3. I really like it. I wear it a lot, and I might even like to make a second one. Another favorite sweater is this Ranunculus. I like the way it fits. I love the fabric of this. I knit this in Shibui Echo mixed with Silk Cloud. It's a very, very soft sweater. I like it a lot. Again, this is another sweater that I need to wear a top underneath because it's a little bit short, and then also the holes, the lace in the front, I think is just a little too loose for me to wear comfortably without something underneath. I did the little bishop sleeves, little fussy sleeves, and I love the way that you finish off with the I-cord. It's just a beautiful, beautiful sweater. This is definitely a more decorative sweater. So while this feels like an everyday sweater, this feels like the kind of sweater that you wear when you're not going to be doing a lot of things. So that's one thing I'll say about me, that I'm really thinking hard about what kinds of sweaters that I need to be making. I wear my sweaters all the time, every day, with whatever it is that I'm doing. So I don't save them for times when I'm going just to the yarn stores, or when I'm just going to church, or when I'm just doing a little bit of shopping, or something where they're not going to be worn where I'm going to be very active. I wear my sweaters all the time. I have mopped floors in this sweater. I have walked the dog in this sweater. I have done dishes in this sweater. I've done laundry in this sweater. I have worked in my yard in this sweater. So I really wear them. And I need to spend a little bit more time thinking about what kind of sweater that I want and that I will wear, and that will get the most wear. But also I need to think about what kind of yarn to choose for that, and whether those two things go together. So I think this Hayward is a really good choice. I also think that I made a good choice with this Ranunculus because it's definitely a lacy sweater, so it's meant for quote unquote dressier days. So I think that I made a good choice with that too, and I'm pleased with those two. Here are two that I'm not so sure about. So this is my Rialta pullover. I made this in Brooklyn Tweed Katina. I love it. I pick it up all the time. It is actually slightly damp right now because I'm gonna have to get a different kind of wool wash. The gentle wool wash that I used didn't get it out. I don't know if you can see. I sanded that dresser that I painted. It was black, and I sanded it while I was wearing this sweater. Yeah, that's the kind of girl I am. I wear a sweater while I'm sanding. So I'm gonna try that wool wash. I think it's by Unicorn Fibers. Is that the one? Knitmore girls use it a lot on their children's sweaters, and also I think when they wash fleeces, they use that. I don't spin, so I don't wash fleeces, but I'm definitely gonna have to update because the Yukon didn't get out the worst of the grime out of this sweater. But I love this sweater. I wear it all the time. I choose it a lot. What do I like about it? Again, I like that it's kind of that A-line shape. I love the cables on it. And it's a warm sweater, which I need here in Michigan. What I like about it is that it's comfortable like a sweatshirt, but it looks a little dressier. And if I really want to dress it up, I'll wear a button-up shirt underneath it with just a collar, or I wear a silk scarf or something like that to make it look a little dressier. To that end, Katina, which I think is now discontinued and has a gauge, I think, of either 16 or 14, I can't remember exactly, is a very soft yarn, and it pills like crazy, as you can see. So this sweater I've worn probably more than any other sweater, and I definitely need another one, or at least a sweater that has these kinds of cables on them. But I think I'm going to do it in a Brooklyn tweed shelter, maybe, or even veil. I haven't worked with, not veil, maybe veil doubled. What would veil doubled be? Or shelter doubled? I'm gonna have to think about that. I can't think of what the Corey, the bulky weight yarn Corey, I haven't worked with it a lot. I don't know if it pills a lot. And perhaps I just need to go down and gauge and knit something like this. Brooklyn tweed has plenty of patterns. I have beautiful cables in them for shelter. And I have a shelter dress that I like a lot. I'll bring that down another day. I like it a lot. I wear it a lot. It doesn't pill the way you might expect it to. This has pilled a lot. So again, while I'm really, really happy with this, I think I need a yarn that is a little bit more sturdy, less soft. So it's hard when you walk into a yarn store and you see yarn that is a beautiful color and it's super soft and it feels good to knit. And then in the end, you make a sweater that maybe doesn't hold up quite as well as you'd like it to. Or maybe in the end, you make a sweater that you don't wear as much because you chose a fabric that's probably fine for this item that you're making, but not for the item that you're making that lives in your particular wardrobe. So I just want to spend a little time thinking about some of that stuff for me. So another sweater that I love, that I wear a lot, is this Branches and Brambles sweater. I love it. I do wear it a lot. I did make this, I modified it a little bit to make it a gentle A-line. And remember I told you that I had been kind of exploring this kind of color tipping? I did that on this sweater too. I just did a tiny bit of the cast off edge here, and then also on the cuff. It's beautiful. I love it. I wear it a lot. I really like the shape of it. But again, this is one of those sweaters that's not really for everyday wear. It's made out of the Road to China Light, so it's a really sort of fragile yarn. I like this a lot. It's kind of more a dressy sweater and not so much an everyday sweater, although I do prefer the shape for everyday. So I might have to reknit this maybe in this Brooklyn tweed loft just so that I can have one that feels a little better about just everyday wear. Again, doing laundry, doing dishes, things like that. This one just feels a little bit more like for church and going out to lunch kind of wear. Which brings me to this Tecumseh. So I have a sweater in Dune, and I just love that yarn. It's beautiful, but it's kind of, again, fragile, like this Road to China Light, and like this other, this is kind of a dressy fabric. This is sort of a dressy fabric. Dressy in my Midwestern terms. So Dune feels the same way to me. It's got that little bit of silk in it. It's definitely a softer fiber. So it feels like something that's a little dressier. And yet this sweater doesn't really seem like one that I would wear in a dressier environment. So I'm really happy. I loved knitting this. The pattern is nice. I liked the color work. I kept motivated on it. I like the shape of the sleeves. I haven't actually tried it on since I've done the sleeves. It's not blocked yet, but I like it. But on second thought, I really think rather than buying those super soft fibers like Dune or Road to China Light or that Shibui sweater, I think I really need to lean towards more sturdy fibers like this Brooklyn tweed. I kind of want to try, have any of you done the Cascade Echo? It comes in a really big ball, and I think it has a gauge of 16 maybe, or maybe 14 even. I was thinking of reknitting that Rialto in that yarn. I just need to investigate a little more some of those sturdy fibers and not be so tempted by the softness. Not because there's not anything wrong with the soft fibers, just as I think about my life and the way that I live and the kinds of things that I ask my clothes to do for me, I think I am a little too heavy on the finer fibers, and I need to be focusing more on those workhorse fibers. So I just sort of realized that recently. I hadn't really been thinking about it. I don't know if any of you think about that. And if you do, let's talk about it. Let's share your thoughts, because as a knitter, sometimes I choose a project because I really want to knit it. And sometimes I choose a yarn because I really want to use it. And in the end, what I've done is not necessarily the best thing for my lifestyle. So again, I'll wait and see exactly what I think about this sweater. But as I look at my closet, I realize I don't need another soft sweater. I need a workhorse sweater. So that's what I've been thinking about. So that's it. That's all I have for you. It's not a lot. That's all I have for you. I am not wise like the fat squirrel. I don't have anything big to offer you. I just want to tell you from my little corner of the world that I hope that your little corner of the world is as bright as it can be in these days. I hope that you are staying sane. I hope that you're enjoying your family all being together. My daughters are both home from college. Neither is very happy about it, but we're glad to all be together. We have been playing more cards, and we have larger goals of maybe cleaning out the basement and closets and things like that. So I don't know. We'll see how that goes. Some of us think it's a good idea, but we don't always act on it. So I hope that you're all well. Thanks so much for paying a little bit of attention to this corner of the world. And I'll see you guys next time.